George Michael did that. George Michael. But, yeah, so sad. I could not believe that. I was like, oh, another singer. And that's when I said, I'm like, wow. When I heard George Michael died, I was like, wow, 2016, you are brutal. And then, 2 days later, your choice?
Yeah. And it's really sad because I think I remember saying on our Christmas episode, it's like, there's nothing bad that happens on Christmas. I think it's one time where, like, nothing bad ever happens. And then, as you mentioned, George Michael passes away, and then a couple days later, the force is with her. Carrie Fisher, also known as Princess Leia, passed away at age 60. And the thing was that it started off with...
She was okay.
Well...
I was so mad. They said that she was okay.
That's what I thought too. I knew that she suffered a heart attack over, I think it was this past weekend or something like that. And it was like, okay, everything's fine. And then it's like, well, she passed away. I'm like, what? No. My childhood is being ruined now. Now the only thing I have left is, Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford left of my, it seems like my awesome childhood is just slowly deteriorating. Well, and James Earl Jones, I should mention that.
But honestly, they killed off Han Solo, so it's like, oh my gosh. And I know this seems a little selfish to be like, oh my gosh, what about the next Star Wars movie? But what about the next Star Wars movie?
That is going to be a good question. Who knows? Maybe they might. Maybe they might write her off as, because it could work, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's just so gray. It's like you don't want to take her off because she's still Princess Leia, and they just had a cameo.
I know it.
Yeah.
It's going to be awful. They're going to CGI her. It's going to be weird.
Yeah, I mean,
They're going to have to kill her. I don't know. I haven't read Star Wars fan fiction and everything like that. I don't go that deep into it, but I would think if they kill off Han Solo, most likely they're going to kill her off too anyway. But it just sucks that it's like, oh my gosh, now they're going to have to do it for the wrong reasons instead of having the strong Princess Leia who basically led the last movie. Like, she was the reason everybody's coming together. Like, hey, let's go. Not Rogue One. I'm not talking about Rogue One, but the last one in the New Hope, right? Or, no, what is it called? The Force Awakens.
Just say a New Hope 2.0, basically.
Right. But yeah, so I just can't believe that is basically the reason everybody's coming back together. And she's gone. I was so sad. I was like, okay, 2016. It's not over yet, so we have to knock on wood. I'm knocking on wood every week.
Right. So
this would not
grow. We'll kind of close on this. You mentioned, how they would, either kill her off or how they would, write her off in the movie. This is kind of a bold way to do it, but they've done something like this with the Fast and the Furious, with Scott Walker unfortunately passing away, where they still had him in there, and they had a great send off with, I think, Vin Diesel having like this kind of talk about how much he means to the family, how much he meant to their group. If you kind of had some way similar to that with her, I think that people can be at least forgiving about it. Maybe, of course, mention maybe she's about to pass and she's talking to Ray, saying the Force, like maybe a line of the Force will be with you, as will I, and maybe like that's how it kind of works off. It is one of those things where it's, again, so gray, it's so sketchy. It's like, how do you approach that? But if you do it in the right way, like they did with Fast and Furious 7, I think people can be at least forgiving about that.
Yeah, and honestly, that, like, I'm not even, again, I'm going to say, like, I'm not a huge fan of Fast and Furious, because they made so many that in between, like, the 5 5 and 1, I think they made some crap ones, and it kind of lost me. But I cried at the end of that one just because Paul Walker died way too soon. And then the fact that they gave him such a great tribute and the song, I hope they do what you're saying. I think that could be a great way to say goodbye to such an iconic woman like Carrie Fisher, is give her Star Wars funeral. You know, like, give her a Star Wars funeral, talk about it a little bit, have real emotions come out like how Vin Diesel had. Those are real emotions. And I was like, wow, this made me love the movie even more. And I think if they have an opportunity here to do something really good with something that's so tragic and sad.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely do agree with that. So before we break out into the waterworks, because this is probably going to be probably been the most serious and the most, I don't want to say depressing, but the most kind of, I guess, low energy kind of episode that we've done of this show. And the important thing, again, that we're trying to get across is that, guys, stay positive. You can't always be so close-minded, be open-minded to other things, and remember the people who are gone for the memories and the positive impression that they left on this world and on our lives. As long as you do that, then everything is going to be okay. So with that being said, that is the edition of Change the F Up. Of course, you can always find us on Spreaker.com, iTunes, Player.fm, PodDirectory.com, Stitcher.com, TuneIn Radio, IW Nerd, Satchel Podcast Player for your Android and smartphone, Mr. NTG 1990 on YouTube, as well as Castbot.fm. You can always check out VicTori Belle on her Facebook page. Also, check out her website, VicToriBelle.com. You can hit her up on Twitter at VicToriClark04. Be sure to check out also the Dedersons, which they are still doing Season 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, still filming it.
Still filming Season 2. You can always check out Season 1 on DVD as well as on YouTube. And also coming up this month will be City of Angels. So definitely check that out. I will definitely have a link for you guys on my Twitter as well as on Facebook. So definitely going to check that out. You could also hit me up on Facebook as well as on Twitter at Nate Effin Great. And again, guys, thank you so much for reaching 1,000 Twitter followers. So be prepared for a YouTube video, or at least a Facebook Live video that you guys might either enjoy, or you might think, well, we were expecting a little more with a 1,000 Twitter follower deal. But I'm going to at least give you guys something entertaining to remember by. So with that being said, VicTori Belle, do you have any events that are coming up in January that you'd like to kind of make mention?
Right now, for January, I have some tentative events. I'm doing, of course, the newest Magic the Gathering release date at Top Cut Comics in Rockford. So that, I believe, is the 14th and 15th of January is when the newest pack sets come out, new monsters, new things. It's going to be awesome. I'll probably be the Planeswalker Chandra again. So play my Magic for 24 hours straight, get my game on. And then there's also going to be a charity event for comic books at the same exact comic book store in Rockford, Top Cut Comics, and we'll be doing a charity event, I believe it's January 27th, so it's near the end of the month, but giving back, so costuming with a cause. Using their own. That's not me. That's not my trademark. That's somebody else's, but I'm doing it.
Right.
But no, I just want to, on a high note, let's end on a high note, it's worth it. There's so many good things that's going to be in 2017. Let's all get there, guys. Let's get there. Let's make it worth it. The holidays sometimes brings weird, negative thoughts for people feeling sad and lonely, and I think that 2017 is going to be a better year. We can only look up to how 2016 went, so, which is weird because I technically feel like 2016 personally went really cool and was well, and I was like, wow, this is great. And then you look back on it and you're like, whoa. All the things in the world didn't go as well.
Right.
But let's make 2017 a much better place, and I won't talk to you again until next year. Oh.
Yep. Yes, indeed. We will have the next episode for 2017 next week, of course, here on our major Spreaker.com page. So be sure to check us out. Then, you guys, for VicTori Belle, I am Nate the Effing Great. Of course, we will see you guys next week for the first podcast of 2017. It's going to be rocking. Bye-bye.